In this video, you will learn how to use a rate table given one rate and filling in the rest of the rate table. Okay, so in this example we have hours and miles as our two variables, and in the first line you see 1 hour and 8 miles. That is a rate. Okay, we can now use that to figure out some other rates within that. So what might happen in a rate table is you might be given hours only, and you might have to determine the miles. You might also be given the miles and have to determine what the hours are. So here's how you read a rate table. So 1 hour, 8 miles. So we use multiplication to determine that. So we basically take the left number 1 and we multiply it by a number to get the right one. So 1 times 8 equals 8. So if this is a rate table, which it is, then every one of these, every line can be written the same way. We can put a times in the middle of the two columns. So on the one where we have 3 hours, we can see that you go 3 times 8, and that gives you 24 miles. Okay, the other one's a little bit difficult because it's not as easy, but anyways, you take the number of hours times 8 to get to 40. The other way to look at it, when you go from the blue to the red, is you go backwards. So it looks kind of like this. Something times 8 will equal 40. Although you probably know the answer from using mental math, let's say it's something that's not as easy. So what could we do instead? Well, we can turn this into a division problem because it can create a fact family. So what we can do instead is we can go 40 divided by 8 equals our missing value. And the reason why we can do that is when you go from left to right, we're multiplying. When you go from right to left, you're going the opposite direction, so you do the opposite operation. So instead of multiplying by 8, we can divide by 8. So 40 divided by 8 is 5. So that's how we determine missing values in rate tables. We find the relationship between the line where we're given both the left and the right numbers, and then we use that to determine what the other missing values are. So I'm going to erase this now. Okay, now I created a new rate table, and I want you to pause this and try to figure out what would go next to the 6 in miles and what would go next to the 15 in hours. So pause the video. Try to determine it. You can draw your own to figure out how to get from the left to the right and then figure it out. Okay, hopefully you paused it, but now let's go over the answer. So again, what you do is you look at the left. 1 hour times what equals 5, so it's 1 times 5 is 5. We can now multiply the 6 hours. Each hour we go 5 miles, so it's 6 times 5, which is 30. And in the bottom one, we went 15 miles. If we go 5 miles every hour, it's 15 divided by 5, or how many groups of 5 is one way to look at it. And we have the answer of 3. Yes, 3. And I should have made this blue, but that's okay, so don't get confused by my coloring. All right, so that's how you take a rate and you determine what the other rates within that are. These are called equivalent rates. So there you go.